Hello, everybody. Sveiki visi. Can you hear me? Okay. Today we have second day of Agile Tour Vilnius, and we have first discussion in management stream. We have very smart team, Danil, Birutė, Inga, and this team will share the best experience in Agile. Before they start, I should mention that we have ability to give and share our questions. And also we ask you to give your feedback. Code for feedback, you can see nearby the name of this presentation, but also in our questions side. Okay, please be active. And can we start now?
Yeah. Thank you. Imagine situation. It's mid-December, the last full day physical workshop before the Christmas. In the room, we have 16 experienced professionals, all of them with quite strong background as managers. And we just have spent the full day brainstorming together. And now we conclude that we haven't been able to make any single decision throughout the day. I was part of that workshop and I felt helpless. Whatever topic we took, we couldn't agree on anything. The tension in the room was, physically palpable. We even decided to drop the last agenda item because it felt it's not worth taking. We just cannot continue like that. The workshop I'm referring to happened at the end of last year. It was one of many workshops which we had throughout 2019 with the aim to implement Agile way of work in the business development and IT development organization within SEB Baltics, and with the ultimate goal to create one Agile future development organization. Hello, everyone. My name is Inga. I am head of products and channels development within Baltic business development in SEB. I perceive myself being a positively constructive person. I like bringing people together. I like connecting the dots to see the big picture. And I also very much like finding solutions in the difficult situation. But in this specific case, I felt absolutely lost.
And I am Birutė Beniušytė. I'm head of Baltic IT in SEB. As a leader and as a person, actually, I'm really passionate of driving the change, finding new ways of working, and that's how to bring organization to some other level. And not accidentally, we together with Inga, at some point we agreed that yes, we need to talk about Agile. We not only to talk, we need to think how we are transforming our organization. And after some time, we agreed that yes, although they are located in 3 countries in the Baltics, and we are 2 organizations, very classical, business and IT so-called, and altogether we are having around 400 people. So transformation is coming really at our door. And we started very classical way, honestly saying, me and Inga, being leaders of these organizations, encourage also our management team to sit together and start talking. Because we are 2 organizations, although working kind of together, but not to such extent. And now we will need to find a way really how to become as a one organization, how to become as a one common team. And this is how we started. Workshop, another workshop, very good discussions. Honestly, I also enjoyed because there are really interesting angles what teams were bringing on the table, and we were discussing. After 1 month, we are again discussing, and again, and again, and again. And basically, all this lasted almost 1 year until this December meeting. So we felt that we are generating a lot of action, We are finding some other angles, what really worth to bring on the table and put and discuss. Because when we talk about transformation and about soft things, how we will transform the teams, it will be always something what you don't know, what you have not discussed. And maybe, you are not so confident to come to your team and say, well, I don't have all answers actually, and I also don't know something. So we somehow pushed ourselves to be extremely ready with all possible answers. And you can imagine how it went, even very small thing on the table already third or fourth month, endless discussions. And again, even you feel you're so close already to the decision or agreement. Again, one more good question. Again, one more good angle. And frustration was actually to the maximum level, actually. I remember this December workshop, what Inga was referring, we all were simply exhausted. And what we understood very well, this cannot continue. We are stuck and it cannot continue. But on the other hand, we also understood we definitely don't want to drop agile transformation idea. We want to transform, which means we need to find another way. We were not so sure what is this way, honestly, but we understood we need to sit down and really to think out of the box how to run agile transformation. And although we passed not one or not two trainings and we read a lot of books, what is Agile about, what is Scrum about, and when to apply, we are really smart and we understood everything, but we somehow were not capable to see a bit as from a side ourselves in what situation we are. And we could not connect these dots together, that we are frustrated. We have a lot of topics on the table. All of them are important. All of them are like number one priority. Scope is huge. We are already thinking that, well, most likely Big Bang is not an option. We are planning to have gradual implementation. So we kind of have everything on the table. And until one person started to think, well, why we are not applying Scrum for ourselves? Although I mentally understood that it's a good idea, but another side of my brain was stopping me actually that really for us, really for management team, for leadership team, and personally myself, now, we are managers, we tend to come to discuss things and this is how we are used to work. But now we will come to Scrum, we will be pushed to, to run these all ceremonies, really? So I was pushed heavily out of personally my comfort zone, really. But what we understood very well, if we don't try, we don't know. And another thing, can it be worse? At that point, believe me, nothing could be worse. So that was actually pushing myself really to accept a new challenge and to try out. And let's try out, let's work differently in few months, and then we can agree. If that doesn't fit for us, we will find something else. And this is how we started a new way, a new agile way. And we were not alone, by the way. We had Agile Coach with us, Danil. And please share, how did you see our turn?
Hi, everyone. So yeah, my name is Danil, and actually, I'm the practitioner, right? So I've been doing the kind of agile-ish thingies, I don't know, for years now, and started like a developer, then a team lead, area manager, something like that. So basically practitioner doing this stuff. And now I'm honored to try to share that stuff with people. And actually, in this case, you probably recognize yourself. This is a typical paralysis by analysis situation. Well, it does happen when you try to plan the things that you don't know and you don't know how to do them as well. So by definition, this sounded, it's a good place to try out Scrum as an approach to the transformation itself. So basically, plan transformation in iterations, deliveries in iterations, and with some, let's say, slight encouragement, we agreed to do exactly that. Try it out with the managerial team and try to deliver the transformation itself in a Scrum way. So what was this effort? The people who were participating in the team were actually, as already mentioned, from 2 organizations and 3 locations. So basically senior managers, but actually we took the Scrum more or less by the book and started implementing it. So basically, yes, we had all the standard meetings, standard times, recurrent, product owner, Scrum Master, by the way, Inga became product owner, delivery team consisting of the managers. And we actually also used the same Jira. Well, that was the tool for the teams to use. So we used as well Jira, just to be on the same page. And we actually also started to use user stories, just as the teams would, in order to formulate our deliveries. Our sprint wasn't beginning 1 month, but very quickly everyone realized that doesn't work. So we switched to 2 weeks. So actually, listen to it. It's all standard. Nothing really to tell here, all standard. And I think actually this is good news. We didn't need to invent anything. Scrum is out there, we just used it. Well, there was one thing that I must mention that we had to adopt to. In Scrum, it's extremely important to agree who is inside the team and who is outside the team. And obviously, managers are not going to be 100% dedicated for the transformation activities. So no one can be 100%, so to say, dedicated to be inside the team. So we had to adopt, and before every sprint, we had to agree who is participating and to what extent exactly. Luckily for us, every time it was more or less 8 managers actively participating in the delivery. Well, and basically with that, we have started the first sprint. So Birutė, do you remember, how did it go?
Absolutely. And the thing, what I remember the most, this was the sprint ending. Yes, that was really something emotionally, and that's why it is stuck in my personal head, and I believe in everybody's who participated there, because there was the only feeling, finally, finally we are moving. And it was really like a breakthrough moment for all of us, because we just talked how exhausted we were, how much we worked without any result, almost 1 year. It was a huge pressure from ourselves, first of all, from organization, from top management. And you are eager of at least small step further. And we felt that actually during one spring, as Danil said, we started one sprint as a 1 month. What we actually felt that we delivered, or we managed to agree and to do a step further, much, much more than we actually delivered in 1 year of endless discussions. And this feeling when you hear one story, actually we had a demo that moment, and people were presenting stories and what are the outcomes. We were going through acceptance criteria. And this feeling that, well, there is tangible result. One story is going through, Inga as a product owner saying, accepted. Another story comes, again accepted. And we went through all the stories in the sprint, and at the very, very end, everyone is really waiting for the final word from product owner, how our sprint went. And it was successful. And that was really feeling in the air. You could see in everybody's eyes, actually, and it's even hard to describe satisfaction level from everybody. And that was actually a key driving point for us. Because, you start feeling it works, we started to move, we have already something agreed, finally, it is a clear, tangible result, and we can move on. So it boosted our energy, it boosted our confidence that actually it can work, and let's move on. Was it that easy, everything? Well, I believe Inga has a lot of stories to share what it meant actually to prepare for the first sprint, and there are a lot of learnings for ourselves. So Inga, please.
Yes, Birutė, first of all, I might clearly relate to this feeling of these clear results. So Scrum helped us to see the tangible results, first time tangible results, not just discussions. After this year going, back and forth. Was it easy? No, not really, definitely not in the beginning. So as a product owner for this newly created Scrum team consisting of 16 managers, I had responsibility to manage backlog. But first of all, you have to create backlog, right? So to create the first user story out of the long action list, which we built over the previous year, took us 2 hours. 2 hours just to really structure and understand who is the persona in user story, who actually will benefit out of this delivery, why she needs it, and what it is, what she needs. So classical user story, nothing wrong with that, but we realized that this is not the way how we used to think about actions. We will do it, but what is it? What will we deliver? That's not the way how we have previously discussed. So that was quite a headache. Even though I had both Birutė and Danil helping me with that, it took a long time. I have been involved in this agile transformation journey for a year already. I have attended several trainings. I knew what are the expectations of product owner's role. And how come with all this knowledge, I couldn't perform this role on the highest standard from day one? I actually had to start practice in order to get the experience. So no trainings, no reading Scrum Guide have prepared me for that. Until you start practicing, you cannot get the skills. It's kind of no-brainer, right? You could expect it from anyone, but when you are in the senior leadership role, it's quite vulnerable to stand in front of your management team and to say, sorry guys, I am still learning. I don't know how to do this role. So I was relying so much for the feedback and the support from the team to really start doing my part of the job to the best quality. But this was not the single headache I had. The other headache was Jira. I'm not native Jira user, so I have, from time to time checked something there, not so much, using the Jira flows or issues myself. And now I had to build the backlog there. Nothing technically complex, right? Now, what it could be? You just, you create the issue, you make the description of user story, you save it and it's there, and then probably, prioritization of backlog. And for whatever reason, I was struggling for that again and again and again. Whatever I did, I have either forgot to press the save button or I have saved something wrong, but each new sprint planning started with me opening the backlog and being surprised that something is missing. My one or more user stories are gone, just disappeared. It was hilarious, of course, but it was repeating so many times that I was really embarrassed. And one more problem. You remember our struggles with decision-making, right? So we couldn't decide. And now, sprint after sprint, I am as a product owner, I'm expecting some kind of user stories. So there was worry and in the team. So what's happening now? We were not able to agree and decide before, and now Inga alone accepts something, and our 400 people organization will have to live with that probably for coming years. So what's happening? It took time to convince everyone that this is not the case. It's not that by delivery of the 2-week sprint, we are deciding something upfront for 5 years. What we were doing, we really applied Agile way and iterations. Usually the first user story was about some kind of proposal of approach. It was validated with a couple of persons, but of course not with 400, right? And then the following iteration and sprint had a user story where we decided on which kind of limited scope we would like to try and pilot this approach to get validation. So it could be one team or one specific process, but this is where we would like to check it out. Does it work? Then the next sprint, we were gathering feedback from those persons who have been involved in the validation and making our judgment. Do we need to change something in our initial proposal based on the feedback, or actually the feedback confirms that our initial hypothesis was right? And only after that, we went for the scaling it to all the teams. So this approach of the creating hypothesis, validating, adjusting if needed, and scaling, when we saw it worked, it took away this worry about what we have decided. We even stopped using this word decision. And this allowed us to change, this change of mindset allowed us actually to start moving, because remember what was before? We couldn't decide because there's so much things which are unknown. What happened now? There are still many things which are unknown, but we can start small and we can start moving step by step.
I just want to highlight to the listeners, you know, that Inga is talking about mindset shift here, right? What is it, a mindset shift? How do you even do that, right? It sounds big and scary. But look guys, like in essence, we did just two things, okay, just two things. So first thing, we started to make deliveries smaller, okay? Instead of making decision that applies to the whole organization, let's apply this decision to a part of it first. Let's see how it works, if it works. Instead of updating all the processes that needs to be updated, this is a transformation. It requires some paperwork as well. You know, it's a company. Some work needs to be done. Instead of updating all the processes, let's update one and see what it takes to do that. And then in step, every step, we are thinking big, but executing in a small batch, in a small step, so to say. So that was the first thing. The second thing, we shifted the focus from activities, actions, like planning activities, planning actions, to concrete deliveries, things. So action versus things, think in things. Like, for instance, establish a new way of planning. Sounds good? Well, how do you know it's delivered? How do you know you're done? For me, it's one thing. For you, it's another thing. And, you know, we are establishing new way of planning, still establishing. That's action. So we have started to replace those things. They're potentially endless and not really tangible. So we started to do things like, okay, our delivery is online backlog, or story points reference matrix. Okay. Of course, this does not create the whole new way of planning, but it's a step forward where you can actually see the result. This is very important, like see the result. And I understand that splitting items sounds to be inefficient. And planning deliveries instead of actions, just too simple to be any kind of meaningful or impactful. But those two things were exactly the ones that moved the needle for us. And there was one more thing that I would like to highlight, maybe from the kind of mindset perspective. Working as a team. So in the beginning, the managers were picking up the items, you know, to deliver. They were mostly focusing on my item. You know, my item. I do my job. I wait for you to do your job and see what happens. All right. So in the long run, we know that this creates silences. This creates knowledge and information silence, and neither of them is good. When it became clear that product owner is not making all decisions, but it's actually the team who is making decisions on how we are transforming, the product owner only prioritizes what are the first decisions that we need to make, what are the next, and so on. But the decisions themselves can be taken by the team. Something has happened. I think it was when the refinement meetings started to work finally well. Managers actually started to help each other a little bit more and became more and more engaged and accountable for the results.
We not once touched mindset shift, right? It's easy to say, and each manager knows and expects that all our organization one day accidentally is finding a magic button where to push, and this is how the mindset change. Unfortunately, it's not the case, right? And I will share my personal experience of mindset shift for myself in the first place. It's again pretty classical, actually. When we run initiative or project, it's pretty standard that we need a plan, right? It's not just a plan, it's a very high expectation from everybody from the day zero to see basically all detailed plan, no matter how long the project is, but still this is how we feel confident that we do understand what to expect from this project and to feel confident that is everything under control, everything is being managed. I was no how different in that sense. If anybody from the team or I was hearing somewhere around that, well, we don't have plan because we work agile way. I think everybody have heard that 1,000,001 time and ask yourself what the feeling it brings. Although you maybe don't say it loudly, but the feeling is, well, it's a house, right? And I was no how different in that sense. I was taking it with a smile, and it was not easy to accept. Or I was not maybe even trying to accept, because that from where I come actually, that I need a plan. I need to understand what we do now, what we will do next quarter and stuff like that. And the day come after running Scrum, after 4 or 5 months, our top management also had expectation to see where we go, because this is a significant change for all Baltic organization, and they would like to see how we do. And we are preparing presentation, myself and Inga. And I really remember the moment when I'm standing in front of top management with the slide in front of me stating, there is no plan. And for that second, I really was catching myself and was thinking, Jesus, now I am saying the same exactly thing, but actually I now truly believe in that. Nobody pushed me. Nobody told me to say these things. I wrote it myself because I believe I see it working, and actually we don't need a plan, but not having a plan does not mean a house. And this is actually key mindset shift. Do we really need a plan, we as leaders, or we need a result, or we need a confidence and trust that things are moving? Ask yourself, what do you really need? How often we have seen some super brilliant, perfect, detailed plans which are being changed in a month because of uncertainty, because of different stuff coming in? I think absolute majority. So what's the point to go for the detailed plan? I answered myself, I don't need a plan, but I need confidence. And in this, our Agile Transformation Initiative, we understood also that, well, there are so many different things. So how not to start drifting to the left, to the right, again, one more brilliant idea. And the solution for that was creating a vision or end goal where we want to be, why we do Agile Transformation. And we built a vision. It was not an easy job, again, to agree and to understand what will be our satisfaction at the end, that yes, we did it and we are happy with that. We have vision, very good. But what we also understood, it's quite a long journey, actually. It is quite a long distance. And it's still quite a big chance that actually we will be a bit lost on the way to reach it. And then we actually created a goal for the year. So where do we want to be at the end of this year by contributing to the end goal? Obviously, it cannot be a goal for the year completely out of the box and very different from overall our vision, right? But it is rather big step further our vision. And we have a goal of the year. But even that for us actually in daily life, for Inga as a product owner to do the prioritization and to understand which topics are now the most important, it was too long distance. And to solve that, again, to show the direction and not to get lost, we actually all the time defining the goal for the sprint, which is again, contributing to the year goal. So all in all, how we ended up that actually, yeah, we don't have a detailed plan, but we have very clear direction, where we want to be, what is our yearly goal, and then each sprint, we are actually also defining what we want to achieve with that sprint. And then actually it became way more easier to understand, is this particular story now important or most important? Is this story contributing to the goal? Nevertheless, it might sound super important. Nobody's questioning that. But is it the most important to achieve the goal? What we just agreed that this is our goal for the month or for 2 weeks later when we changed. So at the very, very end, what we understood that direction is important. And if team knows the direction, they will find a way how to put the stories, how to put the details, and how to find the way by themselves and to reach the goal. And actually, well, if somebody come and say, well, still trust me because we work in agile way, well, you need to deserve this trust. You need to have something behind so that you can earn the trust and or how to bring this confidence. And for that reason, we actually also introduce metrics and the dashboard so that for ourselves, for our organization, for our stakeholders and top management, just to check, so where we are, facts, really, measurements, how many teams we transformed to Agile, what is our time to market, where we stand now, what is the trend. And if putting together transparency, which really helps to create the trust, plus the direction where you go, honestly, that's it what you need. You don't need details. You need confidence that things are moving. Well, we actually can talk about that. We are really excited of the momentum where we are now. We are very proud of the change we did almost a year ago. For us, for our organization, that is actually a breakthrough. It doesn't mean that we already finished transformation, but that was significant improvement to do the next step. And in one sentence, what can I say about that? How to conclude that? Well, Scrum works for change management. I think we all have heard 1,000,001 times that Agile or Scrum or anything about Agile is for IT. Okay, in the best case, together with the business development, but still at the very, very, very end, it is software development and projects related how we are developing something, right? And although we have heard many times, we have read many times, no, it's not only software development, it's not easy to accept, right? And it was not easy to accept for ourselves because us as a leaders, as a leadership team, had to accept it and try out and to apply Scrum for the change management, to become ourselves as a Scrum team, as a delivery team. That was not an easy, but what can I say now? It really works. It worked for us and we are really happy we made this turn. Does it mean it's brilliant and now we have nothing else to do? Well, honestly, it's really, as more we go, as more we find where else to improve and what maybe doesn't work as we would like to. But that is, again, Scrum, what helps us actually constantly to improve. Constant feedback sharing, running retros, picking up where else we can do it differently so that, again, we are doing the step forward. And for me personally, and what I was really not once asking for my management team, how do you feel now? Would you like to come back on previous way of working? Or how would you see this situation today? And honestly, I have not heard even once somebody saying that they would like to turn the time back and continue in the old way. So what is my conclusion of today? That the only way is way forward in a Scrum way.
I can relate to that. I think my takeaway from this our journey is that even though we came to this a decision to apply Scrum for Agile transformation out of this frustration and helplessness where we were, but it proved to work. Not just to work, it actually worked brilliantly for us. If you think about Agile transformation backlog, so what is it? We had user stories about governance, about roles and responsibilities, about tools and processes, about performance metrics. It's not something extremely unique only for Agile transformation. These are quite regular topics leadership teams could have on the table. And now we are in the stage that we are already really merging more and more business development and IT development under one Agile organization. So we are ready to move from this transformation working group to really establishing one common development management team. And before the launching of the team, the very obvious questions pops up. So what will be our way of work when we step out from this Agile working group, which we ran for more than a year? And not from myself, not from Birutė, but from our team members, very obvious came out expectation. We should continue to apply Scrum. And not only ourselves, if I look around on the leadership team, for example, of our first Agile Tribe, which we launched mid-year this year, they apply Scrum as well. So you could see that the good examples, they are really spreading.
Well, what else can I add? So many things have been told already. So what I see time again, and again, you need to walk the talk, okay? As a leader, you need to lead by example, move forward, show how it's done, apply it yourself, and then people follow. That's it. I don't know, at least from my perspective, this is what I have observed in my life, in my experience, over and over again. And I am actually quite happy to see that this practice is exercised in SEB as well. So you're maybe a manager and you want your organization to play, you know, Scrum, Agile, or something like that, right? Well, why not playing it yourself first? Why not trying it for your initiatives? Learn how to do it. See what are the benefits. After all, look, it worked in a bank with the managers' teams, right? Quite regulated environment, quite complicated environment. Can your situation really be more complicated? I invite you to think about it. And this is actually all that we wanted to share with you for today. Thank you very much for your attention. And obviously, we are open for the questions.
Okay. Thank you for amazing story of your success. And before we start the questions, we should mention, please leave your feedback and follow the code menti.com. please be active. First, I would ask also my personal question. You shared your personal experience, and this was very interesting to observe your sparkling in your eyes, how team was created and how you are lucky by your findings. And now, if imagine, please, if you have one possibility to start or to make this project again, what one mistake you want to avoid? Only one mistake, no more.
Well, if we would start from the day zero now, I'm pretty sure with current understanding, we would right away would start in Scrum way, honestly saying. so this is obvious for us, and this is something what we really would like to continue. We would not like to wait that long and to be that desperate as we were.
The question for myself is, would we get to this conclusion if we wouldn't be so desperate? So we had to go through the struggles. Maybe it shouldn't have been for a year, right? But through the struggles to make to the conclusion, let's apply Scrum. If it would be Danil coming in, you know, with a flag, now let's go for Scrum, I wouldn't believe him for a moment. But when we came with this conclusion ourselves, because we couldn't continue as we continued before, then we trusted this. It came from ourselves.
And actually, Danil was coming with this brilliant idea, what if, but it's not easy just to accept that you really need to be pushed and you really need to commit yourself and answer why you need it.
Oh, and if you don't mind, like from my perspective, I mean, I'm a part of Agile Coach, right? So we are a team of coaches, and all of us have different superpowers. So I think that in some cases, you know, there are other people who would be better off to, so to say, deliver to you some messages. You know, I have my ways, they have their ways. So probably I would try to involve team a little bit sooner than today. So that's my takeaway.
Okay, thank you for your presentation. Thank you for this interesting story, and we are wishing you the best success, and we are waiting your new experience in our next meetings.
Thank you so much. Looking forward.
Thank you. If you have more questions, you can always ask them in the comments, and we'll try to answer them. Okay.
Absolutely.
Okay. Thank you. Bye-bye.
Bye.